My sister said, "Please don't come to my wedding. Your husband has tattoos. Our relatives can't see that." Mum said coldly, "Don't bring that deaf child. If he has a disability, hide it for life." I held back tears. On the wedding day, her voice trembled on the phone. "Please, please come now." A colonial-style house in a quiet residential neighborhood in suburban Boston. Emily Carter stood by the window, gazing at the light rain that signaled the end of winter. "Mom, look." Liam signed excitedly, making big gestures with his hands. He had just turned 7. With his brown hair and large eyes, his animated expressions made one forget about his hearing impairment. "What is it?" Emily signed back, looking at the paper her son had spread out. There was a fire truck and a man drawn as a hero. "It's a picture of Dad," Liam proudly signed. "That's wonderful." "It looks just like him," Emily answered with a smile, gently stroking her son's head. Ethan appeared from the kitchen. He had healthy, tanned skin and closely cropped hair. His body, toned from his physical work as a firefighter, was adorned with a vibrant tattoo that ran from his left arm to his shoulder. Flower and flame motifs intertwined with the words honor and service beneath them. On his back were inscribed the names of comrades he had rescued. "What are you looking at?" Ethan approached and put his arm around his wife's shoulder. "A portrait of you," Emily said with a chuckle, showing him their son's drawing. "A portrait of our local hero." Ethan smiled bashfully and scooped Liam up. "Thank you. Champion," he said while simultaneously signing. In their home, spoken words and sign language blended naturally, creating a comfortable rhythm. Emily returned to the kitchen to continue preparing breakfast. Family photos adorned the walls. Their wedding day, the day Liam was born, and last summer when the three of them visited the coast of Maine. Every picture radiated their smiles. When Liam was born and they discovered he had a hearing impairment, the couple was momentarily at a loss. But that didn't last long. "What this child needs isn't special accommodation, it's love," Ethan had said, and they began learning sign language together. Now Ethan even volunteered once a week to teach sign language classes at Liam's school. At the breakfast table, Emily was checking the mail. Among the bills and advertisements, she found a letter from Margaret. "It's from Mother," Emily sighed as she opened the envelope. Her mother, who was obsessed with her position in Boston's high society, always worried about appearances. When Emily decided to marry Ethan, an ordinary public school teacher, Margaret had strongly objected. "A man with tattoos," she had said in a tone as if describing a criminal. And when Liam's disability was discovered, she had spoken as if it was something shameful to have a disabled person in the family line. The letter contained news about her sister, Sophia. Sophia had grown up heavily influenced by their mother. She was expected to be perfect and always tried to conform to the ideals of high society. Unlike Emily, she had made it her life's goal to meet her mother's expectations. Sophia has made it to the final selection for Boston University's elite law program. She truly is the pride of our family. Emily put down the letter. Since her father's death 10 years ago, her position in the family had become even more of an outsider. Her marriage to a tattooed firefighter, a child with a disability, and an ordinary life in suburban Boston, none of these met what Margaret called the Carter family standards. "Is something wrong?" Ethan asked with concern. "Just the usual update from Mother," Emily answered with a smile, bragging about Sophia. "I'd like to meet her," Ethan said. "After all, she's Liam's only aunt." Emily nodded, but she had mixed feelings inside. The last time she had met her sister was 2 years ago, and it had been a brief encounter in a cold atmosphere. Her sister clearly didn't know how to interact with Liam, and grimaced every time she saw Ethan's tattoos. From the kitchen window, the morning sun shone through. In the light, she could see Ethan and Liam signing to each other as they pointed at birds in the garden. Emily felt a warmth in her chest. This house was where she belonged, even if her family didn't understand. There was true love here. The phone rang, and Emily picked up the receiver. "Emily." It was her sister's voice, unusually excited. "I have important news." "Sophia, what is it?" "I'm engaged to James Harper. He's the most promising young lawyer in Boston. I've already told Mom." She was jumping with joy. Emily was momentarily speechless. "Congratulations, Sophie. That's wonderful. The wedding is in May at the Boston Harbor Hotel. Of course, you and your family are invited." After hanging up, Emily stood by the window, while sincerely wishing for her sister's happiness. A slight unease crossed her mind. Still, the prospect of being included in the family circle, after a long time, brightened her heart. That evening, Emily told Ethan and Liam about Sophia's wedding. Liam's eyes sparkled as he signed. "I want to wear a new suit." Ethan joked, "I guess I'll need to buy a proper tie." Emily smiled at them. She secretly hoped that this day would help bridge the gap she had felt with her family for so many years. The wedding invitation arrived with a beautiful gold trim. 2 weeks later, Emily took the card and traced the embossed letters. With her finger, "Please attend the wedding of Sophia Carter and James Harper." "It's a beautiful invitation." Emily showed it to Liam, who was reading a picture book in the living room. "It's your aunt's wedding. We'll all go together." Liam stood up excitedly and signed. "Will I wear a tie?" Emily nodded with a smile and replied, "Yes, we'll go buy a new suit tomorrow." Seeing her son's pure joy strengthened her hope that this might be an opportunity to bridge the family divide. That evening, Sophia called. Her voice sounded tense. "Emily, I need to talk to you. Can we meet for lunch tomorrow at Café Matra in Boston?" The next day, Emily entered the upscale cafe in Boston's Back Bay district. In the elegant interior, Sophia was waiting at a window table. As usual, she wore a perfect blouse with a pearl necklace, her blonde hair meticulously styled. "It's been a while." Emily lightly embraced her sister. She would have liked to hug her more tightly, but she knew Sophia didn't prefer that. "Sit down," Sophia said. There was a hint of discomfort in her expression. "I wanted to talk to you a bit about James." After the waiter brought coffee, Sophia finally got to the point. James's family is very traditional. His father is the president of the Boston Bar Association, and his mother is a trustee of the Arts Association. Emily nodded quietly. "That sounds impressive." "So," Sophia paused as if choosing her words carefully, "the wedding will be extremely formal and elegant. Many of James's family, friends, and important figures from the legal world will be attending." Emily tilted her head, not understanding what her sister was getting at. "And that's a problem." Sophia stared at her coffee cup as she spoke. "We will be seen as a family. That means impressions matter." "Impressions?" "Ethan's tattoos cannot be shown to James's relatives," Sophia blurted out, "and Liam's sign language would disrupt the atmosphere of the ceremony." Emily couldn't believe her ears. What are you saying?" "Don't misunderstand." Sophia tried to adjust her tone. "I love you all, but this day is a once-in-a-lifetime special occasion. Everything needs to be perfect." Emily's cheeks burned. "Are you saying my family isn't acceptable?" "That's not what Sophia began, but quickly changed her expression. "This isn't about you. It's about my special day. I need you to understand." Emily was at a loss for words. She left with a painful feeling in her heart. On her way home, Emily called her mother to explain the situation, but Margaret's reaction was as expected. "Sophia is right. Ethan's appearance is certainly an issue, and children with disabilities should not draw attention at such events." "Mom," Emily's voice trembled. "Emily, you always want to do things differently, but this time, think about Sophia. You understand how important this marriage is for her, don't you?" Emily returned home, fighting back tears, where Ethan and Liam warmly welcomed her. "What's wrong?" Ethan asked with concern. Seeing his wife's expression, Emily tried to explain but stumbled over her words. Just then, the phone rang. It was Margaret. Emily put it on speakerphone with a tired expression. "Have you reconsidered?" Margaret's voice filled the room. "Reconsidered what?" "About Sophia's wedding." "I'll explain about you to James's family, but there are some conditions." Margaret's voice sounded cold. "Please don't come to the wedding." Emily gasped. Ethan took her hand. "Your husband has tattoos." "Right. I can't introduce him to our relatives," Margaret continued. "And don't bring that deaf child. If he has a disability, keep it hidden forever." Emily hung up with trembling hands, desperately holding back tears. Silence filled the room. Liam looked anxious, seeing his parents' expressions. "What's wrong?" he signed. Ethan gently embraced his wife and answered his son in sign language. "It's okay. Mom is just a little sad." That night, after putting their child to bed, Emily and Ethan had a heart-to-heart conversation in the living room. "You don't have to go," Ethan said. "Thank you for teaching us what a real family is to Liam and me." "You are the most important person in the world," Emily cried in Ethan's arms. She was glad she had chosen this man who had tattoos. was a firefighter and loved Liam unconditionally. The next morning, Emily sent a short message to Sophia. Sophie, I won't be able to attend your wedding. I would like you to respect our family as we are this time. I wish you happiness. After pressing the send button, Emily stood by the window, looking out at the world. The soft spring sunlight illuminated her face through the curtains. In the depths of her wounded heart, she contemplated the true meaning of family. The wedding day arrived with the bright May sunshine. Emily had been up since early morning, preparing for a picnic in the kitchen. Liam was helping make sandwiches. This one is for Dad, this one for Mum, and this one for me. He signed happily. The small sandwiches for the family of 3 were cut into different shapes. From the living room, Ethan called out as he prepared blankets and a frisbee. The weather forecast is perfect. A great day for a picnic at Blue Hills. Emily smiled, but in the back of her mind, she was still thinking about her sister's wedding. By now, Sophia would be dressed in her dream wedding gown, experiencing the most important day of her life. Trying to shake off her complex emotions, she told herself, "Let's enjoy today." Just as they finished preparing for the picnic, Emily's cell phone rang. Sophia's name was displayed on the screen. For a moment, she considered ignoring it, but thinking it might be something important, she answered, "Sophie, aren't you in the middle of your ceremony?" What she heard from the other end was crying. "Emily." Sophia's voice was trembling. Please come right away." Emily felt a chill run down her spine. "What's wrong? What happened?" "James, his speech, everything." "I was wrong." Sophia stumbled over her words. "Please, I want to see you all." "Calm down, Sophie. What happened?" Emily tried to maintain her composure. "There's no time to explain. Boston Harbor Hotel, Grand Ballroom, right now." The call ended. Emily looked at Ethan with a confused expression. That was Sophia. "Something terrible seems to have happened. What do you want to do?" Ethan asked seriously. Emily took a deep breath. "I wonder if we should go. But considering what happened, let's go." Ethan answered immediately. "Your sister's in trouble." "Right." Liam, sensing the situation, signed. "Let's go." The 3 of them quickly changed and got into the car. Emily had no time to dress up, so she wore a simple dress with a cardigan. Ethan wore a long-sleeved shirt to hide his tattoos. Liam remained in the button-down shirt and chino pants he had been wearing since morning. I wonder what happened. Emily was deep in thought in the car. What could James's speech that Sophia mentioned have been? The Boston Harbor Hotel was one of the most prestigious in the city. Passing through the grand entrance with luxurious chandeliers and marble floors, they hurried to the grand ballroom. Sophia was standing in the lobby in her wedding dress, her makeup smudged, her eyes red, clearly having cried. As soon as she saw them, she rushed over. "You came," Sophia said tearfully. Surprisingly, she knelt down in front of Liam and, though awkwardly, signed. "I'm sorry." "What happened?" Emily asked. "Come in." Sophia led them into the venue. "James will explain." Entering the grand ballroom, they saw hundreds of guests sitting quietly. The ceremony seemingly paused. At the front, on a platform, stood the groom, James Harper, in a tuxedo. He was tall with refined features, the typical appearance of a Boston elite. Seeing them enter, James's expression showed relief. A murmur arose from the audience. Margaret also turned from the front row and stared at Emily with a surprised expression. James took the microphone and said, "Excuse me, let me continue. I was just speaking about what a true family means." His voice resonated through the hall. "The woman I am about to marry, Sophia Carter, has a sister, Emily Carter, and her husband, Ethan, and their son, Liam." Emily was speechless. James smiled at them and continued, "I learned just before the ceremony that they were not going to be here today, and when I found out the reason, I felt deeply saddened." Silence spread through the venue. I was told that Ethan's tattoos and Liam's hearing impairment were the reason. But, ladies and gentlemen, I must confess something here. James took a deep breath. "I have a brother, Daniel, who has a hearing impairment." Margaret could be heard gasping. Emily, too, widened her eyes in surprise. "As a lawyer and as a human being, I have always fought against discrimination. In particular, supporting the hearing impaired has been one of my life's missions. My brother is one of the most important people in my life, and his disability is nothing to hide or be ashamed of." James slowly lowered the microphone and fluently signed. "A true family means accepting and supporting each other. Seeing this sign language, Liam's eyes lit up. And a word about tattoos. My father, William Harper, was also in the Marine Corps when he was young. Many of his comrades proudly wear tattoos. Judging people by their appearance is what we should most avoid. Margaret blushed and seemed to shrink in her seat. The bonds of family are about understanding and acceptance, not discrimination or exclusion. I deeply regret that these principles were not upheld in the preparations for today's ceremony. James looked at Sophia. She nodded slightly through her tears. Emily, Ethan, and Liam, I am truly grateful that you have come here today. You represent the kind of family I seek. Applause erupted from the audience. Many guests stood up to show their respect. Emily couldn't hold back her tears. Sophia rushed to Emily and hugged her. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She apologized through her tears. I told James everything last night. He was angry and said, if we can't invite the real family, then the wedding has no meaning. But why did you call us? Emily asked. James suddenly started a speech in the middle of the ceremony. Sophia explained. He began talking about the meaning of true family, and then said, my actions were wrong. I felt ashamed at that moment, but at the same time, I understood he was right. That's why I called you. Emily looked at her sister. In Sophia's eyes floated genuine regret and love. She felt as if the distance she had felt for years was gradually closing. James came down from the platform and approached them. He extended his hand to Ethan and said, it's an honor to meet you. Then he turned to Liam and fluently signed, hello, I'm James. I'm glad to meet you. Liam happily signed back. My name is Liam. Congratulations. Margaret approached timidly. Her expression was a mixture of embarrassment and confusion. Emily, she said, seeing her mother at a loss for words. Emily felt her vulnerability for the first time. It's okay, Mom, Emily said. I just want you to remember today. The ceremony resumed. Emily's family was guided to sit in the front row, where they witnessed Sophia and James's vows of love. During the ceremony, James called in a sign language interpreter and conveyed his vows in sign language as well. Holding her husband's hand, Emily felt that today would be a new beginning. Wounds of many years wouldn't heal in a day, but today's events had taught everyone the true meaning of family. When Liam held Emily's hand with his small hands, she smiled quietly. After the main ceremony ended, the reception began. Live music played in the hall, and champagne glasses sparkled. Despite the sudden invitation, Emily's family was warmly welcomed by the guests. Liam's eyes sparkled at the unusual environment. Looking with interest at the elaborate cakes on the dessert table, Emily held her glass, contemplating the events of the past few hours, from the sudden phone call to James's moving speech and the reconciliation with her sister. The development seemed like something out of a movie, and she herself was losing her sense of reality. It was a wonderful ceremony, said Ethan, standing next to her. Despite not being appropriately dressed, he blended into the atmosphere with his natural demeanor. He wore a long-sleeved shirt, but a small part of his tattoo was visible from his right wrist. Yes, it really was. Emily smiled. An unexpected turn of events. Just then, a gentleman approached them. A man in his late 60s with an imposing physique. He was William Harper, James's father. His posture conveyed years of leadership experience. We finally meet. Emily. William greeted with a warm smile. I've heard from my son. I understand you're a wonderful educator. Emily answered humbly. It's an honor. William turned to Ethan. And you must be Ethan. I hear you're a firefighter, and extended his hand. When they shook hands, William's eyes lingered on the part of the tattoo visible on Ethan's wrist. His expression changed. Is that? William faltered. Ethan awkwardly tried to pull his sleeve down further, but William politely asked, if you don't mind, could I see it? After a moment's hesitation, Ethan slowly rolled up his left sleeve. The entire tattoo, with intertwined flower and flame motifs, was revealed. Beneath it were the words honor and service. Seeing this, William suddenly saluted. That's a 3rd Marine Division tattoo. His voice was filled with respect. You served. People around them started to pay attention to their conversation. Yes, I participated in the 2nd Battle of Fallujah during the Iraq War. Ethan answered quietly. Which unit? Charlie Company. Sir. William's eyes lit up. Do you know my son, Michael Harper? He was also in Charlie Company. Ethan was momentarily speechless. Lieutenant Mike Harper, He was my commanding officer, I see. William couldn't contain his emotions. Michael was wounded in Charlie Company and returned home. He always talked about a brave soldier who rescued him, who, regardless of danger, pushed forward through enemy fire. Ethan shrugged. I just did what needed to be done. James, overhearing the conversation, approached. What's happening? Dad, this young man, Ethan, is the hero who saved your brother on the battlefield. William explained excitedly. Mike survived because of him. James looked at Ethan with a surprised expression. I've heard that story from my brother many times. He says he can never forget that moment. Margaret and Sophia approached. They had heard the conversation and were blushing. Why? Wasn't this hero invited to the ceremony? William expressed his anger. Margaret tried to make excuses but stumbled over her words. We didn't know. To judge someone solely by their tattoos. William's voice was stern. For us, a Marine Corps tattoo is a mark of honor. Sophia bowed her head in shame. I've done something terrible. Emily was stunned by this development. She looked toward her husband. Ethan mouthed, I'll tell you later. He had rarely talked about his battlefield experiences because they had been a heavy trauma for him. William noticed Liam and asked, This is your son, right? He smiled warmly and extended his hand. Liam was a bit nervous about the serious adult conversation but shook the offered hand. Actually, I'd like to introduce you to my other son, Daniel, William said. He pointed to a corner of the venue where a young man was standing. In his mid-20s, he had gentle features similar to James's. He approached at William's signal. This is Daniel, James's brother, and my youngest son, William said proudly. When Daniel noticed Liam, he signed, Nice to meet you. Liam's eyes lit up. He signed back. Nice to meet you. I'm Liam. Daniel has been deaf since birth, William explained. However, he is now studying architecture at Boston University. His disability doesn't limit his potential, rather. It has given him a unique perspective. Margaret stood speechless, seeming deeply shaken in her values. Actually, James continued, in the support center for the hearing impaired that we plan to be involved with, we're also planning to collaborate with veterans like Ethan. There are similarities between the PTSD experienced by those returning from battlefields and the social isolation felt by the hearing impaired. Ethan nodded. I've also started disaster prevention education for children with disabilities at the fire station because of Liam. As the conversation continued, Emily reflected on this miraculous coincidence. Her husband was the hero who had saved the life of her future brother-in-law, and James's family was connected to hers in an unexpected way. As the party progressed, what was once considered a shame now transformed into family pride. Margaret quietly wiped away tears as she watched Liam and Daniel behaving like grandchildren. Emily took Ethan's hand and whispered, You never told me. Ethan smiled. The past is the past. What matters is this moment today. Around them, two families were melding together, forming new bonds. The Christmas lights warmly illuminated Emily's house on a December night a year after the wedding. A large fir tree was decorated in the living room, with family gathered around it. Ethan was giving Liam a piggyback ride to help him place a star at the top of the tree, prompting applause from the gathered family. It's beautiful, Margaret said. She sat in a chair and signed to Liam. Wonderful. For a year, she had been diligently learning sign language. Though still awkward, she seemed to enjoy conversing with her grandson. In front of the living room fireplace sat James and Sophia, Daniel, and Mr. and Miss S. William Harper, James's brother. Michael Duck couldn't attend due to an overseas business trip, but he had sent a video message. The room was filled with warm conversation and laughter. In the kitchen, Emily and Sophia were preparing dinner. Their relationship had changed significantly over the year. I still can't believe it, Sophia said as she cut an apple pie. How arrogant I was this time last year. What's important is not the past but the present, Emily gently replied. Margaret entered the kitchen. Her expression had a softness that she had never shown before. Is there anything I can help with? Emily smiled. Thank you, Mom. Margaret looked at her two daughters. Inside, it's hard to admit past mistakes, but I'm truly ashamed of myself for judging people by their appearance or disability. Tears welled up in her eyes. I'm sorry I hurt you. Emily approached her mother and hugged her. It's okay. We're family. Returning to the living room, James was teaching Liam and Daniel how to use a new tablet. A sign language learning app was displayed on the screen. The support center for children with hearing impairments is set to open next month. James reported to Emily. Sophie arranged all the legal matters. Sophia shrugged bashfully. Many children will benefit, especially talented kids like Liam. William was engrossed in conversation with Ethan by the window. Your lecture at the Veterans Association was a great success. Many young people were impressed by your approach to dealing with PTSD. Ethan smiled. Being able to reunite with Lieutenant Mike, whom I helped back then, was truly a miracle. As she was leaving, Margaret kissed Liam's cheek. Let's go to the museum together next week, she promised in both sign language and words. Daniel signed to Liam, enjoy Christmas, and the two exchanged a firm handshake. After the family had left, Emily stood in the living room, watching the snow begin to fall through the window. Ethan put his arm around her shoulder, and Liam stood between them. Happy? Ethan asked. Emily took a deep breath and looked around at her family. Very, she said. She was reflecting. A year ago, she had been rejected by her family and carried deep wounds in her heart. But now, her heart was filled with peace. James's speech about the essence of family being not about differences in appearance or ability, but about accepting and supporting each other, was now etched in everyone's hearts. Liam looked up at his parents with a smile and signed, "Love family." As Emily hugged her son, she quietly savored the realization that a true family is bound, not just by blood, but by love.